with us virtually, and there's some people here in the Metro Vancouver board meeting. Chair West is just going to be 15 or so minutes late, so he's asked me to get the proceedings rolling. So I'll call the meeting to order. We are live streaming this as well on the YouTube channel. And before we begin, I want to acknowledge, respect, and celebrate the Indigenous nations on whose treaty and unceded territories we are fortunate to live, work, and operate. With that, may I have a motion on the agenda? Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions on the agenda? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. And then we have the approval of the public meeting minutes, which is in your package. May I have a motion? Moved and seconded. Any errors or omissions? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. We'll start the proceedings with the public delegations. We have one delegation this morning, Nathan Davidovich. We'll ask you to come forward. Nathan, as you know, you're allotted 3 minutes, and we don't pepper you with questions after that. So.
Thank you, Vice Chair and members. The recommendation of this report about surveys at TransLink just shows how far TransLink is away from transit equity. The cost savings are minimal between present telephone surveys and proposed online surveys. But at least 1/3 of the passengers do not have smartphone or computers and cannot complete online surveys. If TransLink wants to save some money, there is lots of ways of doing it. You can ask Dennis Agar, the executive director of the movement, Metro Vancouver Transit Riders. You can ask the transit unions, the drivers, mechanics. You know, I myself saved millions when BC Transit was in charge. Tuesday is February the 4th is Transit Equity Day. And Dan Levitt, the BC senior advocate, will be speaking at the 411 Senior Center on Fraser Street. Senior fares here are the highest in Canada. There are 1.1 million seniors in BC. TransLink has many equity problems, especially for seniors, teens, and low-income riders. And the problems are, comparing TransLink to other transit system in Canada, where we have the highest average fares in Canada, complicated, unfair, three-zone fare system structure since 1984, no special free or very low fares for seniors, teens, and low income, different fares for buses versus train and C-Bus, no fare integration with BC Transit, no fare caps, no printed timetables in the libraries. We have the longest average transit trips time in Canada. We have very limited overnight bus services, inconsistent hours of service on many bus routes and C-Bus, very limited regional rail service, no washrooms, limited handy-dart service, very few bike parkade at stations, no funding for bus shelters. Well, there is funding at BC Transit, but not TransLink. You know, you've canceled over 200 bus stops. TransLink is the only big transit system in Canada without on-demand transit. We have the lowest hours of service per capita compared to Victoria, Montreal, or Toronto.
All right, sir.
I
We'll ask you
hope
to
you
wrap it up.
participate in a Transit Equity Day on February the 4th. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. With that, we'll go to the consent agenda. You've got, what, 3 items on the consent agenda? The supportive policies for Surrey Langley SkyTrain, the Broadway Subway supportive policies and customer experience measurement program. Does anyone want to pull any of those off the consent agenda? Anyone? Anyone online? All right, may I have a motion to approve and receive?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion of any sort? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Brings us to 6.1, the update on the Canada Public Transit Fund. We'll go to Sarah Ross for her report. Sarah?
Thank you very much. Do we have, there are slides, but I don't really need them. You can bring them up if they're there. But just as a very brief update. Should I? Okay. I don't need to go through all of the slides. There are slides in your package that you can refer to. I just wanted to spend a couple minutes giving you an update on the Canada Public Transit Fund and our application for funding under this. As we've previously reported and as laid out in the report, there are three streams of funding under that. The first is baseline. The second is what's called Metro Regional Agreements. That's where the bulk of the federal money is allocated. And then the final one is the targeted funding. So the first 2 streams the federal government has launched. As soon as they opened the baseline stream for application, we applied right away, and we recently, as was announced earlier this week, received confirmation that TransLink will receive direct funding from the federal government of $66.3 million a year for 10 years. And that funding is very much welcome and needed funding to support our State of Good Repair program. We absolutely must maintain our current system in a state of good repair, and this is important funding for that. The other stream, we again applied immediately upon when the stream was open for applications and going through the steps in the process. This past December, we submitted what's called an integrated regional plan, and that's based on our Access for Everyone plan. We are now waiting to hear from Housing, Infrastructure and Communities Canada on what amount of funding we can expect to receive. This is a competitive program, so they're looking for regions to demonstrate good investments, projects that make change against a variety of objectives in the region. I'm very confident that we have an excellent submission and an excellent plan, but we are awaiting to hear from them on what amount of funding we could count on. What the requirements will be from both the region and the province to access that funds, and expected to be in providing matching funds, or that is expected. And then when we will then begin to negotiate a Metro Regional Agreement. So that is the status of where we're at on that. We would need to confirm that, to hear about that funding in order to have a significant capital program in our next investment plan. Happy to take any questions. Thank you.
All right. Are there any comments or questions from anybody? Do we know the timing of when we're going to hear more?
We do not. We are waiting. We continue to ask for updates on the timing, but we have not been provided with an estimate.
Okay. Any questions, comments? We have a motion to receive? So moved and seconded. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. So the next meeting is going to be February 27th at 9 o'clock. And I think that concludes the public meeting for the TransLink Mayor's Council. May I have a motion to adjourn? Moved and seconded. All those in favor, opposed, carried. We are now adjourned, and we'll just clear the room. I think we could, because time is short this morning and the agenda has some substance.